Beloved poets, welcome to Chaos Magic. As usual, I'll give a few ground rules here. We'll have 3 to 5 minute sets. We ask, but you do not require that you bring one original and one cover piece. You could do two original pieces, two cover pieces. We'll appreciate whatever chaos or magic you bring here tonight. Of course, as it should go without saying, but we're in 2024. No racism, no sexism, no bullshit. Keep it all about the love. Love is a law, and love under will. Treat the space as the sanctuary for the artist that it is, and treat everyone here as sacred as the space. And with that said, let's start some good trouble. As mentioned earlier, I posted the group in the group chats the list. Oh, Baba, I do have you on the list. You're right before me at the end. Um, After Generalissimo. No worries, I got you. Um, and with that said, with the list, if you are on one, if you need to be bumped up earlier in the list for whatever time constraints or what have you, please let me know. If you need to be taken out, also let me know. With that said, let's get into it. On deck, we got Paul Skiff, but kicking things off, leading off, batting number one, we have Richard Spezak. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
Thank you, my friends. It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you as always. I have two pieces. The first one in honor of our brother Gustav. I'm going to read some Crowley. This is his immense poem, Fun at the Fair. So I'll only be reading a few moments of it so that I can also read something of my own scurrilous activity. Okay, here we go. Fun at the Fair by Aleister Crowley. The Moscow Jeremiads cry Ichabod over the fair at Nizhny Novgorod. Railways, they say, its glories have diminished. The merchants murmur, and the fun is finished. But as experience teaches, those who hoard their Schopenhauers are often just as bored, and as I need no pepper pot to spice the simple soups of virtue and vice, trusting the cook of life to season well his masterpieces to my taste and smell, I put my hope and confidence in God and booked my seat for Nizhny Novgorod. Nothing so desolates the heart and brain as travel by the swiftest Russian train. One might think coaching days were come again. Stay, all philosophers pick purple plums from every pudding that attracts their thumbs. The train epitomizes life itself. It's made tolerable by an elf, who, though responsible for some disasters, the best of servants, the worst of masters, is one who, awkward to both catch and cast off, we shall be sorry when we see the last of. Consider not thy place card as a chain, but seek thy fortune swiftly in the train. First, to see how primitive one's pleasure is, recalling, commenting on Genesis, here is a problem for Darwin's grapple. The Elohist says Eve purloined an apple. Here comes it then the evolution cares, and the six chiliads produce only pairs. Conjecture, probe no more the mystery, it matters nothing, least of all to thee. Rather, lament that although thy limbs be supple, alone thou canst only make half a couple. Lament no longer when Dame Nature errs. It is our duty to stop gaps in hers. This first fragment of Nizhny Novgorod's tale, The Fun at the Fair, by our old friend Aleister Crowley, one of the favorites of our brother Gustav. And now this, from my own leaky pen. I don't know if you've heard, there's been some fanatical religionists who are walking around insisting that you use their morality and their prayers, or else there'll be trouble. So I wrote this: religion, plain, or peanut. Now I say peanut because I'm deathly allergic to peanuts. You may draw your safe conclusions. Religion, plain or peanut. How some religionists have come to this, insisting on their style of worship with a fist, enforcing virtue with a sword, seems to belie the sacred word that God is love, as is often said, but enforced and tortured, beaten in on someone's head. Maybe somehow you can tease it out and follow this most curious, colorific thread, no doubt. We've heard some talk of God's free will, yet some would enforce, coerce, indoctrinated, point of shaking snake. Seems they'd rely on God's good power, maybe in a month or a year that it might flower, but others adhere to a belief that you should pray some way or other, or else, dear, you're in for grief. They believe their cause is just, and therefore, just like them, you must offer prayer as they, or vastly nasty harm shall come your way. As they interpret Scripture, any other way just won't do. It seems they have a jealous, zealous God who has his own quite special way if you want the nod, otherwise he's got the rod. Confines designs, it seems, that you should fold your hands just so, or off to Hades you must go, and any other prayer, it seems, unsettles them and mars their dreams. God's enforcers they would be, and if you disagree, you may find yourself nailed to a right proper tree. They did this once, or so I'm told, by 10 million statues, molded, gilded, gold, and sold. You'll find these little statuettes often round their necks with no regrets. What the heck? They commemorate, or so it seems, this awful, lawful outcome of his plans and schemes. To buy freedom for your soul. I don't know if this torture is necessary. If I'm not sure, let's go ask Larry. How exactly is it that this painful requiem is right necessary? It's under control, yet transcends our friends. It's all quite droll. I'm not sure. It's just the way with all the shrieks and screams this fellow rolls. What the hey? That like to enshrine this God's finest hour, like when he succumbed to judicial, prejudicial Roman power. But it's okay. He's later throned above, because after the laughter and the refrain of painful disaster, it's all just love above. Thank you, my friends.
No, thank you, man. Everybody unmute and give it up for Richard at this time. Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Bravo, bravo. As always, your leaky pen leaks the right words, man.
That's a leak
Richard,
that I never wanted to be fixed.
Yeah, don't ever fix that leak. Keep it dripping.
Richard, you're a fan of Aleister Crowley now. It gives me a lot of insight to you. I actually have his Aleister Crowley's authorized biography. The title is The Beast 666. It was written by the executor of his estate, who I bought it from, John Simmons.
I know his work well.
That's really cool. Oh, you the man. um, but Richard, you the man. Thank you for sharing your work and sharing a little bit of your inspiration. We get two poets, the price of one, in this show. So with that said, one more time, give it up for Richard.
Yeah, Richard.
Woo, Richard!
All right. Let me just double check the list, double check the audience. All right. On deck, we got Terry Rose Jertson, but at this time, stepping up to the plate, please give it up for Paul Skiff. Unmute and take it away when you are ready, my man.
Yeah, hi, it's good to be here. I'm just going to read a cover because it's about 5 minutes long. It's from a underground journal. Kirari, Volume 1, Number 1, published in 1993 by J.D. Rage. These were people who used to frequent ABC No Rio. You can Google that and find out all about ABC No Rio. It was a squat on Clinton Street, a couple blocks south of here in the Lower East Side. And this poem is by a classic rant poet by the name of Ken DiMaggio. And it is meant to be offensive. So I guess that's the trigger warning here. Prepared to be offended. I'll try to maybe change a few phrases so they won't be too awful for you. This is called the Seizure Poem, and I'll try to read it sort of like he did, although it's impossible. He had this amazing rant style delivery where he bobbed like a cantor in a Jewish synagogue. The Seizure Poem. Some of my fellow poets, they want to get to be beyond language. While America erupts into flames in cities like Los Angeles, I meet or hear poets who want to make words sound unintelligible, while different social groups in this country, the rich and poor or black and white, are unable to sustain a dialogue. The latest trend in literature is to make it incomprehensible, while the mainstream illiterate American society rumbles and spasms and cataclysms. And the once again, because I'm a poet and because I also didn't get a grant, which means I have to write for a fucking living, it becomes the kind of situation that puts me in the middle. I just want to go beyond poetry now. When the poems that get published sound like they're schizophrenic, and the poems that you understand sound like bad rap music. But I also want to get beyond working for a living, which used to be degrading but is now getting dangerous when the only jobs available are in incinerating medical waste in the AIDS ward or working on a crew that removes asbestos. And that's why I want to have a seizure now. I want to writhe, fury, and froth like an epileptic. I want to get beyond an archaic form of language. I want to get beyond employment that is toxic. I want to have a seizure now. To do the dance that's spastic, a seizure dance, while Americans loot televisions that are still plugged into ostentatious sex galore game shows, while another group of Americans watches that very scene on the televisions in their own homes as they load bullets into handguns and periodically fondle nearby kids, pets, or spouses that are in a daze or stoned. But on the lighter side, Generation General Norman Schwarzkopf, the hero of the TV Video Award, made an unannounced guest appearance at Disneyland, where during the national anthem and for the benefit of all the folks with cameras, he saluted the flag with Mickey Mouse. While throughout the eastern seaboard, thousands of citizens have been reporting the face of Jesus in the forkfuls of spaghetti on the Pizza Hut billboards, which you can also hear more of on the dial 1-800-MIRACLE line, the one that advertises late at night, for which your TV screen becomes a stigmata, unless it's for the dial a rape line, for which your screen becomes a vagina. And by the time I get to the telephone, the TV shows a progeria victim who cutely says, unless I can raise $100,000 for receiving medical equipment and operations, then tomorrow this cute face is going to be a dead crabapple autopsied in a pathology laboratory. Well, that's when I start getting spastic. That's when I start grimacing and leering like a concentration camp experiments. That's when I, like the chicken whose head the circus geek just bit off, it's how I start dancing. That's when, no longer being able to make sense of these cataclysmic images, I come to the decision that it's time to go beyond language, and for that matter, this pre-millennium American culture. And that's why I want to have have a seizure now. I want to stand up before the riot on television and conjure up a fit that's epileptic. I want to have a seizure now. I want to have a seizure now. But in public, at the places where I used to read poetry, before the podium, where I can quiver and then froth and then swallow my tongue before an audience. It's post-millennium poetry, poetry for the TV deaf. It's slapstick performance and comedy that for the post-no employment and post-no future generation. Deep, whatever. Drop whatever you're doing now, that looted TV, that molested child, that suicidal handgun, that abused or beaten spouse, because it's time to do the dance called the spastic. Tomorrow, everyone is going to be doing it when there is no more work, or for that matter, language. Seizures, seizures, that's all there will be. I used to be a poet, spitting, flailing, choking, then vomiting. There's nothing more cutting edge than publicly acting out like you're really disturbed, demented, and underdeveloped. But my fellow poets are right. When people get ready to defend themselves before live riots on television, while the rioters in the television loot televisions that are plugged into the sex galore game shows, then it is truly necessary to get beyond language. I just feel that swallowing my tongue is a better way of doing it than deconstructing words. Besides, when language has to come to its end, what is a poem at this point anyway but a Halloween mask on the face of the underdeveloped, just like in Diane Arbus's final photographs, the ones she took before committing suicide, the ones that show a line of underdeveloped women wearing the masks of famous cartoon characters like Mickey Mouse. How silly they looked, trying to play one of our games when all the God-given, miscalculated inheritances of their faces, their drooling mouths, gaping smiles, and stupid eyes, they could play trick or treat without the aid of a mask. So could we, with our cities burning, our middle class locking themselves in the arming themselves, our politicians parading or babbling, our environment sizzling up or getting more poison, reveal our imbecility through just grunts and guffaws without the aid of a poem? Spit, choke, vomit. It makes a lot more sense than barricading yourself in your home with a gun against a riot while fury and froth and writhing and having a spasm is the epitome of a poetic act. It's more honest than claiming to be a poet. And where were they going? Diane Arbus's underdeveloped women wearing Halloween masks in a field. They just seem to be wandering without keepers, without the guidance of intelligent authority. And as for their destination, the place they would finally come to, the photographer Diane Arbus never took the photograph that she nevertheless must have known, because these were the last pictures before she killed herself.
And that's it. Holy shit. Everybody, please give it up for Paul Skiff.
Yo.
Great read on that,
Fuck,
man.
I loved it.
That
Yeah.
was so
I didn't feel
cold.
offended at all, man. I felt inspired. That was straight inspiration for me, man. Like I never even really heard many rant poems and rant poetry, but like you gotta post the name in the chat. I want to look this dude up because you just turned me on to him, and if you like him, I love him.
Yeah, well, I think rant poetry has left its mark on things like slam, and you can hear it in plenty of people's poetry these days. I mean, CP's poetry is built off that kind of delivery. It's kind of a verbal assault.
Thomas, were you there when Paul featured on the Slam Jam because you would have heard this
No, I
incredible.
missed it. I gotta, yeah, I missed
There's
that
like a
day.
13.5 minute rant poem by Paul Skiff that you need to listen to. Check it out. And don't worry, when once you get to it, you'll know that this is it. You'll know what I mean. With that said, one more time, give it up for Paul Skiff, the dude.
Yeah, Paul. Ken DiMaggio.
Hell
He was
yeah.
on it. I'm gonna look that up. I'm also gonna get the a link for everyone for the Slam Jam Paul Skiff. So I'll post that as we move on to our next pillar here.
And speaking of links, we posted something earlier in the group chat, advertising signups. We're trying to get signups for this hybrid open mic that we're having on Friday, November 1st. It's going to be in correlation with Inklandia. If I'm not mistaken, with Sierra Leone in Africa. So with that said, it'll be 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And we have the link there for signups. I think we're trying to get a goal number of 12, and I think we have like 2 so far, maybe 3. I'm not too sure. So if you are free on Friday, November 1st, and wants to be part of something pretty neat in a hybrid event with Sierra Leone, this is the chance to do it up.
And we're giving you guys plenty
Hold
time
up,
for it.
hold up,
Oh, we
hold up,
just
hold
did
up,
this.
hold up.
Uh, uh,
Time out, time out. Cora is asking, is it the 1st or the 2nd? Web page says November 2nd.
okay, so see, I have to. So for them, I believe it's the second because they're so ahead of us. But I have to contact them now again because they're not that. I need to let me reassure because I thought it was Friday the 1st at noon. And
I
that's
could have
what they
sworn I
had on
saw
the
that too.
flyers. But then on the website, because I think they moved date. See, the web page says, yeah, November 2nd, which would be, yeah. So I need to double check that. Because if it's on a Saturday, we can probably score a lot more people. On a Friday, I was saying, we're giving you plenty time to take a sick day, vacation day, because it's 12 noon Eastern. Let me double check that and get back to you guys because I was told one thing and then we were told another thing, so I'm not quite sure. And it's a like a weekend long event, so I don't know what day we were doing the hybrid. It might have shifted. Um, so let me just double check that and get back to you guys on that for sure. But if not, sign up anyways. If you're available on either of those days, sign up. I'll get the correct date and verify it, and then I'll make another post on Instagram too. But they posted themselves with that flyer that said the 1st, and maybe they just didn't update the sign up on the website because it was originally the 2nd, then I think it moved to the 1st. But I'll double check that for y'all.
In other words, stay tuned on Instagram. We'll get the word. We're going to keep this show rolling. With that said, on deck, we got Thomas Open Minds. But stepping up to the plate now, batting third, here's Terry Rose Jertson. Take it away when you are ready.
Oh, I love the hat.
I have the hat on because I'm doing the cover. I'm doing Damien Rucci's. It's in the chapbook, but it's probably in his book too, which I have both. I just got this chapbook yesterday. Can't remember the name of his actual book, which is not helpful, but it is in this chapbook, and this is the last copy, and this was actually Alex Ragsdale's copy, so it looks pretty well worn, and it's also a misprint copy because that's what the back page looks like. So I got it, yeah. And he's got some poems in here too, Alex. I was going to read one of his maybe another time, but not today. So this is one of Damien Rucci. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the guys who's the organizer of the New Jersey Renaissance Poets, which I am a resident of New Jersey, so I do come along to some of his events. And yesterday there was a huge event up in Highland Park that I went to, and man, that was actually like, yeah, that's far. It's far from me. So anyway, I got to read live there too, so that was good. Anyway, here we go. Honey, I corrupted the kids. Things have never been easy. I had to build a cathedral just to get laid. I know a poem can't change the world, but I can tell you a few that have changed me. But we're at the end of our cigarettes and we both have other places to go. But we're all animal and engine, all matchsticks, burnout, heading to ash, all bohemian, baby. The rumors are true. We'll be gone by tomorrow, so take a picture. We'll write a poem about it on the come down, I promise. And the cowboy mystic of Old Bridge pisses off the on-ramp to Columbus. Of course, this world belongs to us. A man will find a church in anything. So we built an obelisk to the moment, broke the wall and became the poem. No borax, no glue, just a heart full of longing and the wind in our beards. Just the American Serengeti and our taillights fading in the dust. And I swear, if I don't smell Nebraska by the morning, I'm not going to unalive myself. I'm going to kill myself. And there's no tomorrow. And we fall in love every night. And the muse gaslit her psychiatrist to hear me sing blue-collar bar songs out in Ohio. Your Honor, it's not that clear. It's the era. All my girlfriends have boyfriends. It's just the poet's creed, I gather. And the revolutionaries of the punk basement, bacchanals, buy us dinner from their parents' credit cards. And we never say a thing. In every city, it's always the same. Which way to the liquor store? Where are the smokes? Where are my pants? Are you my angel? To be honest, we are going to come tribute to Jack Kerouac's grave, but we did lines of coke off of it instead to tempt the fates and rub some salt in the wound. Sal Paradise was changed. Whoops. Sal Paradise was charged with the ultimate sin of not dying young. I told Milo I wouldn't write about the orgy or crossing swords with the crime lords of New England, but he's never going to hear this poem for 2 months, so fuck him. Nellie's on the Bluetooth in a whole room of heathens, penthouse, rooftop, birds I'm feeding. Hang on, turn. It's paisans on parade. It's the culture. It's drunk poets summer, and it's coming at you. It's the last sip of Milwaukee's best at 3 a.m. It's what you call the underworld. I call the working class working. You got your congressmen, priests, and employers. I got the strippers, petty criminals, and the dreamers. We're coming for you and your stanzas, and maybe your catalytic converters too. Ginsburg wasn't punk enough for me. Jesus wasn't punk enough for me. Your pop pantheon was not punk enough for me. I am the poem. After me, a deluge. I found the crown of poesy in the gutter and traded it for Fellaheen sunsets. I traded it all away to breathe vermilion. Believe them when they tell you, baby, I'm a goner. Damien is he's just a legend, so you know. Anything I read after that is just forget it. But yeah, he's a legend for a reason. All right, taking the hat off right now. I'm gonna read my shit. So this is sidelining self-destruction from my book, Chameleon Chronicles. Every morning since the accident, I wake up with a new thought. Or is this what it's like to have your life pass before your eyes? Trauma takes so many forms while we collectively shut ourselves away, all going through trauma from the minute we take our first breath. I wonder what to say to death as it approaches. Do we stare it in the eyes? My advice is to stay the fuck out of the box. What box, you say? The one we created. That space where we thought we were all safe. But enemies know where we live. We are all the same ones that spew the truth, that are all the most hated. hated for our words because we shine a light. How quick are they to try to extinguish that fire burning so bright? Does fate play a part in the entire picture of life? Or will man keep coming after man with a vengeance so hard that the answer is kill or be killed? The idea was planted by the media, a rotten seed that took root, so terrible a thing we refuse to be mute. But us, we, them, poets, what is the worst that can happen if we band together and take a stand against our own self-destruct plan in love? That's moi. Merci beaucoup.
At this
And neither
time,
were to find me.
please. That's right, the Chameleon Poetic on Instagram. Everybody, please give it up for Terry Rose Jertson.
Yeah, Terry.
Outstanding.
Outstanding work. I love that cover. I love that you put a hat on because you were doing a cover too. But your original piece, that was amazing. Link that book again because everybody needs to own a copy of it for sure. Thank you so much for that.
Chameleon Chronicles. You can get it on Word is Right, or you can contact me. I have like 5 copies right now.
And I'm sure she wouldn't mind signing one of them. If you contact her, you can get a signed copy of the Chameleon Chronicles.
You ask kindly, you may receive kindly. One more time, give it up for Terry Rose Jertson. Thank you.
Yeah, Terry.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
On deck, we have Billy Tuggle. But step up to the plate now. Please give it up for Thomas Open Minds. You're already unmuted, so take it away when you're ready.
All right, so to follow Terry, I figured I would cover a poem from Terry. So Terry sent me this piece, and I don't know the title, so it's just a Terry cover is how I have it titled. It's long overdue, a word or two about the elixir of life that could be pumped into my veins. I know that when I've had too much, I can't sleep and I get shaky. My heart feels like it's running on fifth gear. Do I need to do some deep breathing to calm down? No, I will wait it out. Eventually, if I am tired enough, I will pass out. Why do I keep this vicious cycle going? Is this self-harm through oral pleasure? Do I marry you? But in any case, every morning I will continue to measure the dark granules in my ancient tin pot and plug it in, happily awaiting hearing its gurgling sounds made complete in the process, steeping, streaming mysterious liquid pouring into my cup, the dark velvety broth, craving the familiar taste on my tongue, voluntarily assaulting my own senses. That was the first piece there from Terry. I like that. That was good. And then Whisper, if you can do a little intro to this poem that you sent me here. Whisper, you still in the house? All right, maybe not. I'll intro the poem. So essentially, Whisper sent me this poem. It's from one of the Guerrilla Poets anthologies that they released. And if you guys may know what the Guerrilla Poets do, they do a lot of different activism work. And one of them is they go to penitentiaries and prisons and stuff, and they try to help therapize people like through poetry, just like give them a pen, teach them how to write and see what comes of it. And they released a book, and this is one of the poems from that by an artist called Iceberg. It's called Rage and Violence. How can we stay civil in these times of war? Frustration can't be less when incarcerations are more. The rich is chilling and killing the poor. God bless the child that can hold his own. They let us see what they want us to see, but not what's being shown. So for that, we got a holiday. Yeah, they threw us a bone for Martin. Figure that'll keep us silent inside this cage that has captured all of my rage and violence. Never said I was a saint, never claimed to be. You might not know what it feels like, but you have a family member just like me. So don't act like you're better than, like it can't happen to you. You're just a drive away from home from ending up in cell number 2. Stop talking to me like I'm a child and disrespecting my character. 'Cause when I see you on the streets, you expect things to be all laughter. I'ma make things safe for you. So I'ma be quiet inside this cage that has captured all my rage and violence. This is your workplace. Even got your own little workspace. So why make your time even harder, which makes your job the worst place to be? Where hearts are full of malice. The hearts of men get fed the breadcrumbs of the system, ransoms for bonds. Damn, I really miss him. No money, no commissary, phone restrictions till January. Officers tearing up my room looking for nothing. Is all this necessary? Stop being pretentious and stop being a tyrant, 'cause when I come out this cage, you're gonna capture all my rage and violence. Now is the moment of truth. I done got this close to you. Nah, don't look surprised. I see scared. Please don't fear all in your eyes. No more gangster talk with your gangster walk. Get your punk ass behind the door outlined in chalk. You're so caught up 'cause you've done made me mad. Can't even pull out your mace or taser. You shaking too bad. You ain't without your homeboys. Look at you. Where they at? Home, boy? Remember all the slick and sideways and no acknowledgement when it comes by my way. The ball is in my court. So let me introduce you to my plays. I don't care about the police. I don't care that you was gonna dial it. I care more about my kids. They saved you from my rage and violence. Iceberg. I like that. I just read it for now for the first time. Man, that almost captured my rage and violence. Thank you
Right
for
on,
that.
my dude.
And then yeah, I had a third piece if you guys wanted to hear
Oh yeah.
one of my newest ones here. This came from a prompt on Thursday, and it was the locked door was the prompt I choose from the Thursday. Come as you are, hosted by C. Santos and Jackson Riley. Y'all check it out this Thursday. Great show. And it's in my time to say it's 5:50 with 50% battery left. So 555 numerology. I don't know. I feel like it was meant to be. This is yeah, it's just about to prompt the locked door. You are walking down a street, lost. This must be a bad dream, are your first thoughts. The bright golden full orb of the moon broke into your eyes. You try to find some shelter to hide from your mind, walking slowly towards a seemingly abandoned mansion while forcing holy hordes to fragment your assortment of saddened imagination. Faced with a locked door, you knock and wait. Begin to contemplate this decision you've made. The hair on the back of your neck tries to fly away. Unsure of the time and space you're currently residing in, you feel a strong pull to force this locked door open, hoping that what lies and waits is a better place than what you currently face. Urgency races, thrusting you to take action. Then you begin to hear an unlatching, a bit of laughing, as your bitter thoughts run to see what's happening. The door unlocks, and your spirit is grabbed and passes in. Your mind begins unraveling a madness you are lost in. You feel a deep relief as you are tossed into your coffin. Oh.
At this time, everybody please give it up for Thomas Open Minds. Right on, my brother, right on. And also keep writing, right on. I love my little wordplay,
Yeah, I like
little
that. Keep
puns.
right on, right on. Yeah.
And we're gonna keep on. With that said, on deck we got Whisper Poet. That's right. But stepping up to the plate now, please give it up for Billy Tuggle. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
What's up, good people? Let me drop a quick thing in the chat for you. That's so you can find me in the social mediums. This coming Wednesday night, In One Ear Untethered. It is monthly. It returns. I am your host. It is by way of Zoom, beginning at, we stay up late, 10 o'clock Eastern time. It is a wide open mic. We have no feature. We take donations, but it's a wide open mic this month. Come join us and hang out. Also, there will be a very special announcement and opportunity for all you writers. And you can find that special announcement later tonight on the Facebook page, Haiku Battle Royal. The fine folks at HBR would greatly appreciate it because I'm sure you would greatly appreciate the opportunity. It is October. It is Black Speculative Fiction Month. It is continuing Latino Heritage Month. It is Indigenous Peoples Month. I am an Indigenous person. Yo, it is Black History Month in the UK. I'm not British. Shout out to any Black Brits out there. It is Hoodoo Heritage Month. And if you know Black people connected to the church and to African traditional religions, then you know Black people connected to Hoodoo. And old African American spiritual discipline and tradition. One of the main tenets of Hoodoo is the calling upon ancestors. You might notice there is a candle burning behind me. That's my ancestor altar. And on that altar, except for my grandfather, are my grandparents and two of my homeboys who have come to shows before. So we are literally calling spirits for this show tonight. Also in honor of the Maggist, and because I am a fan of Chaos Magic, so it's just good to be here. Two brief poems from a book called A Tree Falls in the Hood by yours truly. This is called Cursing. As long as you are one to ignore legislative underhandedness and law enforcement overreach into brown people's communities, may you have diarrhea in every traffic jam. May toilet paper always stick to your stupid ass. One mutter of not all cops. And may your ATM card malfunction with a 938 balance. May the print you read grow smaller, farther, and more faint. May you enter a poetry slam, get a time penalty, and choke on it. May you be the father, even without the balls. As long as you fix fingers to type or curl lip and tongue to utter, sometimes as asinine as all lives without termination, indictment, conviction, may your hair hurt, may your teeth itch, your nails dissolve upon first bite and swallow, may your coffee and muffin turn to kitchen cleanser and steel wool. With every detraction from the conversation of such mythologies as black on black crime, may you find yourself chained to a hot rock on the slippery slope of an overdue volcano. May your ancestors disown you. May time travel be invented to undo you. Until you recognize the disproportionate number of brown lives disrupted by the violent notion that everyone of melanin is a threat. Until you bring empathy and compassion to the discussion. I wish you spontaneous combustion. And your children, and your children's children, and your children's children's children. Amen, ashe, and fuck y'all. Thank you. My wife's in the background, hanging, giggling, eating food. You eating tater tots? Mm-hmm. Anyway, one more. This is the rock and roll poem. This is called Obsidian Weight Champions. It's a prequel. It's based on a true story. Obsidian, a volcanic rock, technically glass, can be as brittle as brilliant, very heavy in large deposits, craft blade dangerous, when fresh, too hot to handle, can sharpen to surgical precision. These obsidian weight champions will bring a rock massive and iridescent, edges so sharp that turntable stylus becomes weaponized, cuts that your local college DJ can't resist. Broadcasts will come with warning disclaimers. Going to sound like earth heaving, grace under pressure until magma and steam create a vent the hard way, megaton blast, radiation and fallout on. Going to sound like Shango shaming the devil at a block party at the crossroads. This band is live alligator in your gumbo, rocket fuel in the whiskey, locomotives revving the underground railroad, melting the track in their wake. This band going to sound like the Great Migration through Marshall Stacks. This band going to be djembe, DJ, and effect pedal, going to bleed unadulterated acid soul, hip hop, even if ignored the beat drop, jazz finger solos, blues tempos, gut bucket woofers, and gospel tweeters. This band gonna be the baddest, like reckless kids at recess cussing with a motherfucking bullhorn. This band gonna escape every attic rehearsal with a taste for right. A fuse lit by the funk, hit the switch, hit the goddamn pit. This band sounds like a frontman's last 100 spent on a long distance audition after flunking 2 midterms. True story. I almost blew off 2 midterms to come to New York in 1991 to audition for Bad Breath. 92, 91. This band sounds like a frontman's last 100 spent on a long distance audition after flunking 2 midterms. Think you can see us in the battle of the bands? You got a problem on your hands. Come and get some of this shrapnel and angst, stomp and sway, and all this gravity. See a griot reading news and fortunes in the motion of the mosh, sounding like freeform poetry with ancestors whispering through the monitors. Hit him again, my child. Hit him again. This band will accompany funeral pyre and phoenix rising. Gonna sound like sub-Saharan diasporic litanies and anthems. This band gonna sound like lift every voice and chant up the sound. Babylon, your throne of Guan down. This rock, a fragile thing, gotta be handled with love. We arrive not just to rock a party and in all stages of matter. Sweating electric current through dark matter. Keeping current on dark matters. Keeping current while in the dark matters. Like all descendants of Sister Rosetta, the obsidian weights will remix time, shred space, scratch surface to core, ignite the biggest bang with talking drum, lightning fury, and kinetic coda. Shout out to the Magus. One love. Thank you all.
He does it again, and he will keep doing it and doing it, doing it well every time. Everybody give it up for Billy Tuggle at this time.
Yeah, Billy. No, both those pieces were fire, man. I particularly love that second one, man. Like especially now knowing that you worked at Tower Records during the 90s and stuff. So like, yeah, like bro, and the band references and just that lifestyle, the references in it, man. Like, oh, I crushed it. Like I want to go see that band tonight, you know? Like,
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey,
Nice
if anybody
work, brother.
wants,
Nice work.
thank you. Hey, if
Yeah.
anybody wants one, hit me up. Hey,
That's
that's
right.
what's up.
That's
what's
right.
up.
Tree Falls in the Hood by Billy Tuggle. Hit up the brother because
I'm gonna be
seriously,
hitting you up, man. I
it's
need
it's
it.
gonna
Yeah.
be well worth every single cent because you're gonna be able to just seep in the goodness. One
Thank
more
you, bro,
time,
bro.
give it up for Billy Tuggle. Oh, thank you for showing up, man. Always
Yeah,
a
thanks for
pleasure
coming
having
through,
you.
man. That was great, man. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, we're gonna keep the shindig rolling. We're not even halfway yet. That's exciting because we got so much fun poetry lined up. I could see it. On deck, we got C. Santos, but step up to the plate now. Please give it up for Whisper Poet. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
So y'all can see that I changed my background to mountains. That's a photograph that I took of the North Carolina mountains. And I'm sure y'all are aware of what's going on in Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. Poet of the Rivers is East Tennessee resident, as is my mother. And I have family and friends in the North Carolina mountains. And if y'all have not seen the things that are being shown on TikTok, I cannot even describe to you the devastation. I mean, literally houses in rivers, people washed away. It's it is destruction of a magnitude that it defies description. So if you're so inclined, please find a charity and make a donation because these people literally have nothing. The mountains smell like death.
Wow.
The mountains smell like death, and it's bad, y'all. So both of my pieces tonight are going to be in honor of the mountains. The first one is one that I found online. This is from Our State magazine, and it was 10 poems every North Carolinian should read. And this is an excerpt from one called Mountain Time. Up here in the mountains, we know what extinct means. We've seen how our breath on a bitter night fades like a ghost from the window glass. We know the wolf's gone, the panther. We've heard the old stories run down, stutter out into silence. Who knows where we're heading? All roads seem to lead to millennium. Dark roads with drop-offs we can't plumb. It's time to be brought up short now with the tale tellers. Listen, there once lived a woman named Delphia who walked through these hills teaching children to read. She was known as a quilter whose hand never wearied, a mother who raised up 2 daughters to pass on her words like a strong chain of stitches. Imagine her sitting among us, her quick thimble moving among these lines, as if to hear every word striking true as the stab of her needle through calico, while prophets discourse about endings. Don't you think she'd tell us the world as we know it keeps calling us back to beginnings? This labor to make our words matter is what any good quilter teaches. A stitch in time, let's say, a blind stitch that clings to the edges of what's left. The ripped scraps and remnants, whatever won't stop taking shape, even though the whole crazy quilt's falling to pieces. That is by Catherine Stripling Beyer from her book Black Shawl from 1998. And this is one that this is one I wrote. Who are we? We are the ones whose lines tore free. The moorings of lives crumbled beneath the furious boil of a raging tide that no one saw coming and no one could ride to safety. The entire contents of our lives drowned. No license, no phone, no scrapbooks, no winter clothes, no favorite books, no wedding china, no childhood tokens, no favorite coffee mugs. Nothing left to remember our lives by except what memory allows to be retained. And then, for some, loved ones who rode the raging waters out to sea. We were denied the closure of setting them free, bereft by Poseidon's greed. How do we grieve ourselves into healing when the landmarks of our equilibriums crumbled into the scree that remained when the waters recede? We are the ones whose only possession is a heart torn in two and still bleeding into the mud. Who are we? We are the ones who grieved your grief, holding your hands from across the miles. We watched, horrified by who and what you lost. Empathy burns my mouth when I eat, nightmaring my dreams when I sleep, restrains my hand upon my wallet. My heart hurts for the agony of your own. I wish that I could send you the gift of a rewind as easily as the rescue choppers knife blade the mountain air. I have breathed that sustenance into me and reveled in gratitude of the morning sun. As I stood gazing at the magnificent view, grateful for their solid reassurance beneath my feet. We are the ones who pray for the healing of Appalachia. We send you love and light and food and supplies, and we know it can never be enough to replace all that you lost. So we grieve with you from across the peaks. I can only hope that you feel our love and that it provides you with more than just cold comfort.
Everybody, please unmute, show the love, give it up for Whisper Poet at this time.
Woo!
That whisper.
Well, that was a really healing testimonial whisper. And it is kind of a testimony to, one of the better purposes and power of the spoken word can be put to. And it gets me so worked up. As they would say where I used to come from, it sticks in my craw when I hear about all these people. They're just like vultures who want to spread all sorts of misinformation about the situation that just makes it more uh, uh, difficult and treacherous for people. So,
If I can just respond to that, Paul, thank you so much. There's been a lot of talk about FEMA and where they are and where they aren't. And I called FEMA today myself. And first of all, it's like calling an insurance company. Would you like to file a claim? Would you like to check on your claim? Would you, there was nothing at all
Yeah,
about
the,
if you
the
have been
mountains are gone. Their
impacted.
city's wiped out. Like,
Right. There's nothing at all about if you have been impacted by Hurricane Helene, please go here for resources. There's nothing. And then when I got on the phone with the gal, and I'm not criticizing her because she's just doing her job, but I told her that I didn't want to file a claim, that I wanted to get information on what parts of the Hurricane Helene disaster zone is FEMA in right now and where do they intend to go. And she said she would be glad to look and, could I give her a zip code? So I Googled Asheville because I knew that FEMA had been in Asheville because there was a video interviewing a FEMA worker there. And she looked it up and she said, well, I can't find anything. Can you give me the name of the town? So I told her Asheville and I spelled it for her. And she said, it doesn't look like we're there. I can't find any record of us being there. Now, this is a FEMA employee working her own resources from her internal, whatever it is, servers, whatever their list of resources is. And she couldn't tell me that FEMA is even present in this area. And that's not her fault. That is the fault of that agency being so grievously
They're not
mismanaged.
very organized or managed
And
properly.
thank
Yeah,
God for
yeah,
the people who are running rescue missions in there every day. The civilians are the ones up in the helicopters running rescue missions. Military are not running rescue missions. It's the Cajun Navy that's running air, and then there's a North Carolina Air Rescue that's running helicopter, and they're searching for people. They're looking for SOSs in the mud.
yeah. People want to say the American people are so fucked up and divided now. But if you think about it, is every natural disaster, who are the first people there really doing anything about it? It's the people who are there that were impacted, helping each other. I'm just thinking about Katrina, years ago in New Orleans, how for like a week, the only people there get helping were the people who were there in the middle of it, and people from around the country who just piled stuff in trucks and drove it there. And it's like Thomas is saying, you go to any one of these organizations. I once went through, well, twice, I went through uh, fire training for people in office towers. And it was taught by this retired fire chief. And he said, rule number one about any disaster is the first information you're going to get is always going to be wrong. And here's an example where you can't even get any information, you know?
Well, I did see there was someone I made contact with on TikTok. I posted a video on TikTok that now has close to 1 million hits. It's insane. But through the process of that, made contact with this guy who's running supply runs up there, and he's just a contractor. He's just a general contractor who decided to just jump in and get involved, and has now put together a network, and they're just making these runs every day. But he went on there, and he's just this old country mountain boy, no particular education or anything, no particular style of grammar or economic status or anything. He's just a dude. And he got on there, and I was so like, yes. He said, right now, he said, religion doesn't matter. Political party doesn't matter. How you identify yourself doesn't matter. Nothing matters except that we pull together and help the people in need. And I was like, you
Yeah,
go, dude. And
yeah,
then he
the
said,
only
if
thing
we
that
can
should
do
matter is
that right
saving
now,
lives.
he said, if we can do that right now when we're in crisis, we can do it every day. And I was
Yeah,
like,
and it shows you how, yeah, it shows you how artificial all those other, descriptors are too. It just comes down to being human and, human compassion. I grew up in Western Michigan where we had tornadoes every summer, and they would, hit at the end of the block. And who were the first people there for like almost the first 12 or 24 hours? It was just everybody who lived on the street who would go down there and start hauling the trees away and cutting away the power lines and all. And they didn't know how to do that. You just did it. It was just a reaction.
But at the same time, too, you gotta realize all of the fire departments around there, all the police departments, people who they were impacted too. I mean, it wiped whole cities out. So like now all this outside help has to come in, right? So it's like everyone really needs to pull together and make sure that they could save every life possible.
And with that said, I'm gonna repost a link that Cora posted, which I checked out and is legit, just nice list of legit resources and stories that could help towards the relief effort for those in need. And with that said, thank you, Whisper Poet,
the quote
for the
Game of
poetry.
Thrones, winter is coming, so they need all they can get. And thank you.
Yeah, they're gonna need winter clothes, blankets, food, water, shelter, everything.
Do what you can. I bookmarked the page myself. With that said, we're gonna keep on with the show. Um, I was told that General Eastman will be back in the group in a moment. He's rebooting his computer. or his internet, I should say. So with that said, tentatively speaking, on deck we will have Baba and Goma, but stepping up to the plate now, please give it up for C. Santos. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
Hello, everybody. Try to ignore my face. Okay, I have two songs for you. Both by the same band called Ludo, if anybody is familiar with them. The first one is called The Horror of Our Love. I'm a killer, cold and wrathful, silent sleeper. I've been inside your bedroom. I've murdered half the town, left you love notes on their headstones. I'll fill the graveyards until I have you. Moonlight walking, I smell your softness, carnivorous and lusting, to track you down among the pines. I want you stuffed into my mouth, hold you down and tear you open, live inside you. Oh, love, I'd never hurt you. But I'll grind against your bones until our marrows mix. I will eat you slowly, the horror of our love. Never so much blood pool through my veins. The horror of our love, never so much blood. I wake in terror, blackbirds screaming, dark cathedrals spilling, midnight on their altars. I'm your servant, my immortal, pale and perfect, such unholy heaving. The statues close their eyes, the room is changing. Break my skin and drain me. Ancient language, speak through fingers, the awful edges where you end and I begin. Inside your mouth, I cannot see, there's catastrophe. In everything I'm touching, as I sweat and crush you. And I hold your beating chambers until they beat no more. You die like angels sing, the horror of our love. Never so much blood flew through my veins. The horror of our love, never so much blood. You're a ghost love, nightgown flowing. Your body blue and walking along the continental shelf. You are a dream among the sharks, beautiful and terrifying, living restless. We dance in dark suspension. And you bury me in the ocean floor beneath you, where they'll never hear us scream. The horror of our love, never so much blood pooled through my veins. The horror of our love, never so much blood. Okay, and then the second song is, which is my favorite Ludo song, it's called Love Me Dead. Love me cancerously, like a salt sore soaked in the sea. High maintenance means you're a gluttonous queen, narcissistic and mean. Kill me romantically. Fill my soul with vomit, then ask me for a piece of gum. Bitter and dumb, you're my sugar plum. You're awful, I love you. She moves through moonbeams slowly. She knows just how to hold me. And when her edges soften, her body is my coffin. I know she drains me slowly. She wears me down to bones in bed. Must be a sign on my head that says, oh, love me dead. You're a faith healer on TV. You're an office park without any trees. Corporate and cold, gushing for gold, leave me alone. You suck so passionately. You're a parasitic, psycho, filthy creature, finger banging my heart. You call me a drunk, does the fun ever start? You're hideous and sexy. She moves through moonbeams slowly. She knows just how to hold me. And when her edges soften, her body is my coffin. I know she drains me slowly. She wears me down to bones in bed. Must be a sign on my head that says, oh, love me dead. Love me cancerously. How's your new boy? Does he know about me? You've got the mark of the beast. You're born of the jackal. You're beautiful. She moves through moonbeams slowly. She knows just how to hold me. And when her edges soften, her body is my coffin. I know she drains me slowly. She wears me down to bones in bed. Must be a sign on my head that says, oh, love me dead. Thank you.
Everybody give it up for C. Santos sends the covers.
Who
Yeah.
does your makeup?
I do.
It's great. It looks great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Well, you know what I really like about those songs is it's people who are totally into this sort of anti-idea that an artist's job is to please and satisfy and kind of calm and soothe an audience, because that's not what this work is about, you know.
Hey, C,
Yeah.
I think you should talk to Mavi about a collab on that because that poem felt very musical to me.
Yeah, it was a song cover.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in the kitchen. I thought you wrote that. My bad.
I wish. No worries.
There's so many lines in that poem that I just want to quit being a poet because I don't think I can get up to that level. Fill my soul with vomit, then ask me for a piece of gum. I mean,
Yeah, that was like a moment where I was like, whoa. You don't
there were
really
a
hear
few
that
other
often.
there were a few other lines I won't quote, but that was as raw as it gets.
That said, one more time, please give it up for C. Santos. Looks like Generalissimo has made his way back in the building. So with that said, you will be on deck, my buddy. But stepping up to the plate now, please give it up for Baba and Goma. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
Greetings and salutations. I can't remember whether I did this piece. That's a problem when you do the same open mics every week. You know, I don't know. I got this new toy. Did I play this last week? This is I did. Yeah.
I want to say you did, but I love hearing it. I am so I will never turn down hearing you play that.
But anyway, this was a Yadaki, and it's a circular one. Most of them are straight, long, 3, 4, 5 feet. You know, this one's a circular one. I found it, and I really like it. And the reason I like it is because a lot of times I'm playing Didge and I loop it, and if I'm playing a regular Didge, I have to put the microphone on the floor. It takes me time to bend over and take the microphone up and put it on the stand before I can do the poem. This one I don't have to do that. It's right there. The mic is right there. Although I'm not using a mic tonight, but anyway, here we go.
I think you don't have original sound on.
Oh, I sure don't. I thought I did. Sorry, yo. DWB, Digin Wild Black, a true story from the village of Harlem. Epigraph. I'm a musician that plays an array of instruments. One of them is the yidaki, an Australian Aboriginal drone instrument otherwise known as a didgeridoo, didge for short. It's a tubular instrument about 4.5 feet long, which I carry in a mudcloth bag with a strap on my shoulder. It's an Om-sounding instrument, often used for meditation. Its sound creates a trance state called the dream time. So I'm strolling through Harlem about midnight, on the way home from a poetry spot, didge on my shoulder as usual, just chilling, being casual, 'cause I'm cool like that. But you probably already know that by the way I wear my hat. It's an old school thing, I'm sure you understand, it's part of the description of a black man. Anyway, I digress. Although I'm pretty cool, I need to get this off my chest. I just don't need distressing, but these stupid cops be messing with a brother, like I'm carrying a bazooka in my bag, or some weapon of mass destruction or something. Anyway, they come up cruising real slow, checking me out like they was in doubt whether to call backup Homeland Security, like I was a terrorist and they should be scared of me. Radio crackling in the background. I get a chill in my spine as I turn around, wondering why the hell they be following me, remembering their stop and frisk policy. They pull up to the curb, get out of the squad car, saying, "Excuse me, sir, we'd like to know what you're carrying in your bag." I started to get an attitude, but it was two young black overseers, so I decided not to be rude, 'cause I didn't want to end up like Diallo. Pulling it slowly out of my bag as I said, "Y'all relax, it's a musical instrument. Just give me a moment and I'll demonstrate," creating the hypnotic sound. Didn't want to be spread eagle on the ground. Now I'm wondering if Harlem's gentrification had anything to do with creating this situation, if there would have been a violation of my rights if my skin was white. Yeah. Song, y'all. Uh-oh, problem. Y'all do it. The thing. Yeah. This is from my, next to my last album. The CD is called Conversation with A Shoe, and this is the title cut. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Going down to the crossroads, had a little talk with A Shoe. Going down to the crossroads, yeah. Had a little talk with A Shoe. Said things ain't looking too good, Baba B. Well, tell me what I can do. Well, the first thing you can do, well, tell folk I'm not the devil, no, 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 no. Well, the first thing you can do, well, tell folk I'm not the devil, no. Just so you know, the devil is the one that does the evil. Well, I know that's the truth, yeah. That's why I sang this song. Well, I know that's the truth, yeah, 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 yeah. That's why I sing this song. Well, I know you're the one who determines what's right from wrong. Oh, Eshu, Baba Eshu, Leroy, tell me now, how did you get such a bad name? Oh, Papa Labor, Eshu, Leroy, tell me now, Baba Bodide, how did you get such a bad name? Said the real devil worshippers needed somebody to blame. Oh, Papa Labor, you know I need you. No being down on my luck. Oh, Papa Labor, I need you now. No being down on my luck. Well, I hear you're the king of calories. That's money, cash now. Please bring me big bucks. Oh, Papa Labor, what can I bring to you? Oh, Papa Labor, you know I need you now. Tell me, what can I bring to you? Dried fish, palm oil, yeah. And a little gin to do. Well, I went down to Crossroads, had a little talk with Eshu. Well, I went down to the Crossroads, yeah. Had a little talk with Eshu. Say things ain't looking too good, Baba me. Whoa, tell me what I can do. Dip dee doo bow bow bow, ba da ba da da da, ba boo doo dee dang, ba da doo dang dang, beep beep dee doo dang dang, squeep dee dee doo dang. Skidoo dee da stop pudding dang.
Holy hell. Everybody unmute and please give it up for Baba Ngoma.
Man, you're the only person I know who
Absolutely.
can mix a tradition from the motherland with Delta blues. I never heard that. What a wonderful bridge. What a wonderful cultural bridge. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Griot and Goma, as somebody who has heard the two put together and greatly appreciate it, thank you very much.
Thank
Ashe,
you.
Ashe, Ashe.
What can
Thank
be
you.
said other than that was just a masterful performance, man. We're lucky to have you here, man. Blessed be Baba Ngoma. One more time, unmute and show your love.
Woo!
That was fantastic. Thank
Yeah,
you.
ovation.
Ashe.
I think I'm gonna hear that as a lullaby. Oh, Papa Lipa.
All right. With that said, we're gonna keep this show rolling. On deck, we got Cora Gray. But step up to the plate now. Please give it up for Generalissimo. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
Smooth. What's up, baby?
Thank you very much. I just want to say, I think I got to get a Yadaki, 'cause that's pretty cool. And I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't know if I'm allowed to get one, but I'm gonna figure it out. But I always love your stuff, Baba, and I hope my computer lets me stay on and doesn't kick me off. So we'll see what happens. I've got
Right.
3 short New York City poems.
Okay.
So the first is called "Drinking in the Pepsi Sign." We'd sit on the bench in that narrow park near your high-rise apartment building. The moon in the navy blue, almost black sky billowed above a glowing Pepsi sign, romantically reflecting into a dingy East River. I'm not sure if this park was actually a park. The tiny triangular strip of sidewalk bushes and trees had to be designed by a landscape designer. I think our bench was the only bench there. At least it was our bench when we sat in it. Before the days of cell phones, the lone basic wood and wrought iron New York City park bench was an ideal place for a morning cup of joe and a read of the day's news, newspapers splayed wide in the air like a golf umbrella, or a nice solitary lunch break with a view, maybe chicken salad with plenty of celery on marble rye, or a fat Essa bagel with cream cheese, a slice of tomato and capers if feeling adventurous. It was a perfect spot for reading a book or magazine, a heart to heart with a friend, or the release of a morsel of gossip into the Manhattan stratosphere. It seemed custom made for a romantic rendezvous after evenings out, as if the Pepsi sign was a private light show and the bench was a veranda in a villa overlooking Lake Como. But alas, it was just a simple bench that provided me with lasting memories of our intense interpersonal sojourn, residing in my cerebral archives, persistently reminding me of the reason for the existence of romance. And then I have these 2 about buildings in New York. The first is called Citicorp. I was a curious 14 when I first bore witness to your minimalist mirrored marvel against the Manhattan skyline. When I stood at your feet by your stilts that seemed to defy physics, I peered and leered at your majestic profile that looked like an X-Acto knife trying to exact an uncircuitous trajectory through firmament into heaven. Earlier that day, I experienced an exhibit of Liechtenstein, both paintings and sculpture at the Guggenheim. I would soon be sitting in a booth with my parents, Brother Alan, and Uncle Sam, dining on a skinny Scandinavian sandwich consisting of ham, cucumbers, onion, and mustard on Swedish rye, whilst leafing through a new Frank Lloyd Wright book Uncle Sam had purchased for me from the artsy-fartsy bookstore next door. And though the meal would not sate me, the thought of living in one of those magical homes made to look like they were part of the land they existed on, complete with waterfalls built into their extraneous exteriors, felt like quite an exacted heavenly 14-year-old's fantasy, to be sated later that night with a piled high pastrami Reuben at the Carnegie Deli, followed by a monstrous piece of Carnegie cheesecake and a Broadway show. And then just one more is called Lipstick Building. Rumor has it the architect watched a woman putting on lipstick across a crowded cafe as he sipped espresso. She placed the cap on the oval cylinder and sat it atop the table. It seemed to tower over the sugar packets. He noticed her lips were a rich burgundy rather than bright red. When a man arrived, whom he assumed was her date, she tapped the tube of lipstick thrice on the table, then placed it in her purse. That tube of lipstick became a 34-storied maroon monument to a woman whose name the architect would never learn. Thank you very much.
I'm thankful that we were able to have you here tonight, despite a little bit of trouble. Everybody unmute and give it up for Generalissimo at this time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
That's
New
how it's
York
done.
postcards and New York menus. Where was that park in the first piece? Where was the park,
Oh,
Generalissimo?
so yeah, the building was not far. I think it was a few blocks from the UN. So
Ah,
it was across the street from a larger park that I can't remember the name of the park, but it was a park where a lot of the taxi cabs would stop would hang out at during their breaks. So if it was in that UN area, and I can't remember the name of that park, but then the building was sort of across from that park, right on the East River. So
I'm pretty sure I know which park you're talking about.
and then that was just like part of the grounds of the building, this little triangular thing, and you could see the Pepsi sign, which as a Southerner, I love Coke, but the Pepsi sign was a pretty cool thing for me.
And you were able to bring that to life in your work. Thank you for that perspective, and thank you for your presence. One more time, give it up for Generalissimo. Woo!
Keep the
Yeah.
keep the Carnegie Deli alive.
All right. We're going to keep this shindig going. We got 5 poets remaining on this list. So let's get on to it. On deck, we got Black Silver 47. But step it up to the plate now. Please give it up for Cora Ray. Take it away when you are ready.
Hello again. Let's move it on. It's been a long time since I wrote something and seeing you all, so hello. I don't have a cover piece because I wrote something really long. I hope that's okay. It's probably like 5 minutes, but I'm hoping to read it at an open mic on Thursday. I haven't looked at this poem in like 3 days, so I'm out of touch. Do you remember a year ago when the world first awakened to what was happening in countries that have been brutalized by plate-armored bulldozers, where the people are used as illustrations for propaganda at home, where the vacillation of war drums beat on in factory machinations, rebuilding a nation atom by atom, bombs bloated with chemical equations coupled with white phosphorus trails following the feet of heavy shuffling in the sand because of forced famine? Do you remember a year ago when the world turned its head to a nation that has long since been bled dry before the age of information began to cry into itself, and the rippling torments of torture from human to human empties chambers of generations into coffers of regenerative revenge and reconciliation, where students look up at steeples glowing hot with incineration, where the scent of burning bushes and olive branches blend with seared flesh, blend with land, blend with surgically sterilized video reels, peer-reviewed by people you thought you knew, people you celebrated on the news who flashed their colors of red and blue, blending into hues of devotional prayers to Cthulhu, who shudders. Nightmares devour the masses who wake up once more to see they've been sleeping in a drawer of silkscreen applications that obfuscate situations that the foundations of corruption are more steady than their lost dreams of a peaceful revolution. I mean, resolution. Do you remember when the world learned that the old ways have no end, that new thirsts for blood are as equal in our immortality as Bram Stoker's horror, thriving in defiance against humanity, I mean human nature? A year ago, when a little girl hung from the banisters with head severed, a father's hand scooping ash of what remains of his son's skin, journalists being targeted yet again and again for witnessing the news of collateral damage tallied in family lineages. A year ago, everyone said, I will not look away, and we agreed that global protests would save the day, and we believe in community donations trickling out of bone meal salaries, and we hope to make a difference. To those suffering behind closed borders, blockaded by armies backed by the fathers of our own comfortability. I still remember the rage and how the flames filled my brain with the images of the deceased, the bereaved, the grieving poetry of people praying for sudden eternity. But I kept turning my head because we gather fruits they will never receive, because enough people are better thieves than they are neighbors. I feel defeated 1 year later into screaming because every action is exhausted from my repertoire. Every poem I've written has been blasted on microphone and Zoom calls, and every voicemail left for representatives who have gone deaf from intoxicating fear of responsibility to people's differing in nationalities. I mean, personalities. I mean, people born with the inability of looking like a white man in black breeches, selling souls to demons by signing ammunitions with disposable pens. 1 year later, I feel ashamed to say that every conceivable path I take in theory is paved with flames, and the necessity for undignified rage leads me to a future with violent revolution, leads me to believe we must embrace the possibility of unified dissolution. But I cannot martyr my soul, knowing that others have burned brighter than I could ever have, and their ashes were swept under the bed, where whistleblowers and truth tellers get their own chapter in General Grimm's fairy tales for Americans who give the lengths of our attention spans to lie awake at night under the covers, listening to our abusive parents go over the world history lesson plans with a red pen again and again and again, until the only thing that's left is the cover page and the index with the words stolen lands, and the tale of when television became the new teacher and the machine gun fire became the new preacher and the preacher became the new leader. Do you remember your own brothers and sisters? Remember when the choir began to sing against the conductor, and the way we were shuffled into the pens of pigs on patrol who are still hunting for those who think they are bold enough to wake up from the spoon-fed prose that feeds us all dreams of whitewashed ceilings and death by ignorance or diabetes. A year ago, we stood together in unity, and a year later, the atrocities of humanity against humanity keep continuing. A year ago, we surged against the breast of our own mothers. We damned the hands that wedded our daughters. We hexed the fathers of would-be powers. And here we are 1 year later, working in the shadow of that very first hour. Distressed, digressed. Long has it been for a nationwide protest, and yet I stress, after we all stretch our lungs to limits or burn our tax dollars with the butts of cigarettes, people will continue to blow each other to bits, because tomorrow is Friday. And everyone knows that's when we get to taste and digest the next piece of bullshit that becomes like a cancer in our chests, eating away at all sense of justice until obedience is all that is left of us. Thanks.
Wow, yeah.
Amen.
Everybody unmute and please give it up for Cora Gray at this time.
Thank you, everyone.
Woo.
Till obedience is all that is left to us. That's got to be a t-shirt.
It's great to have you here. Hope all is well on your end, Cora. Again, everybody, please give it up one more time for Cora Gray. Woo! Whoop, whoop.
Every time I hear the news now about those things, I'm just going to call it General Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah, I try to tie it with Halloween because Thursday is, we're in October, and I don't know. So many of our fairy tales and Halloween tales and horror stories just don't compare anymore.
No, it's on a whole different scale now, It's like the horror comes directly from a machine. You can't out imagine the machine, Used to be humans had to think that stuff up, but it's the machine that thinks that all up for us now.
Wild and crazy how technology has a way of turning against us. Let it, yeah, it's up. Yeah, it would be a thing that humans create that would just be like part of their downfall. Well, I guess a tale is yet to be uh written. So with that said, let's keep living, and then let's keep trying to control the narrative and not let that happen. All right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention here with that piece. Um, with that said, we're gonna keep this shindig rolling. On deck, we got Park Killian. But stepping up to the plate now, please give it for Black Silver 47. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, I see thumbs up, so I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. I got two pieces. They're both called The Horror of It All. And one is a poem, and the other one is actually a piece of instrumental music that I came up with on my guitar. And it's a recording, and I'll have to use the share screen feature to share it with you guys, if that's okay. But first off, let's start off with the poem. It's called The Horror of It All. Here we go. Things get worse before they get worse. This nightmare is all I know. Some wake up from it and see the other side. Me, I never really could grasp it. Couldn't wake up. The horror of it all is the only thing that gets me out of bed. It's this crippling horror why I don't complain. Because it gets worse. A lot worse. People look up to me to do what's right, and I can't let them down. Sometimes I force a smile and bulldoze through the day, all for the ones that have it worse off. I try to be their voice, their light in the dark, but sometimes the darkness is so thick, I can't see ahead of myself. I wouldn't have it any other way if it means I get to be a leader. I'll carve a path that resembles a Celtic knot through the forest of agony. It's because of the horror of it all that I show up in the world. And it's because of the horror of it all that I even have a home. And I'll be here in this nightmare till I wake up. And I want to show you guys something real quick before we get into the issue, before we get to the music. So this is my guitar. I call it Abandon. Just want to show you guys my guitar so you can see it in live time. I call it Abandon. It's got a little Phoenix on there. And it's an acoustic electric. All right, let's get into the music. Let's see here. Share screen. Here, share sound. Share. Okay, so this piece of music is called The Horror of It All. Here we go. Hope you like it.
Right on, man. That's awesome. Everybody, please give it up for Black Silver 47 at this time.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes.
There seemed to be like another sound in there, like a drone, or was that like the harmonics and overtones from the guitar?
Uh, yeah, in addition to the voices, there is an electronic drone in the background that
Cool.
just comes out and balances everything out. Yeah, that's what you're hearing.
That was a really neat piece. And I don't know, just take a moment to appreciate the comments, the feedback in the group chat. Um, I just want to just quickly say, yeah, that just gave me that spooky vibe I've been looking for, especially with this weird weather I've been having here.
Hey,
It
Halloween
just,
is
it
coming
just,
up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Um, way to fit the vibe, dude. Glad you're here. One more time, give it up for Black Silver 47.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks for sharing.
No place I'd rather be.
All right, my dude. Let's see here. Okay, now we're down to 4. We added one person into the mix here, so now we're down to the final 4. That said, on deck we got Frog Corpse, but step up to the plate now. Please give it up for Park Gillian. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
All right. Thank you so much, Dre, and everybody here. Good to hear everybody tonight. So for my cover, I was thinking about the title of my poem and all the wonderful stories I've heard tonight. So I'm going to cover the lyrics to Wondrous Stories by John Anderson. I awoke this morning, love laid me down by the river. Drifting, I turned on upstream, bound for my forgiver. In the giving of my eyes to see your face, sound did silence me, leaving no trace. I begged to leave to hear your wondrous stories. He spoke of lands not far, nor lands they were in his mind, of fusion captured high, where reason captured his time. In no time at all, he took me to the gate. In haste, I quickly checked the time. If I was late, I had to leave to hear your wondrous stories. It is no lie, I see deeply into the future. Imagine everything, you're close, and were you there to stand so cautiously at first, and then so high? As he spoke, my spirit climbed into the sky. But I bid it to return to hear your wondrous stories. Return to hear your wondrous stories. Hearing, hearing, hearing. And this is a recent original of mine from a few months ago called Stories. When I was in middle school, I loved to write about silly things and sports teams I'd create. The papers I scribbled on got stacked up on my desk until they became a towering mess. One day my father had had enough, stormed into my room and flipped over that desk that he had made with his very own hands, then forced me to toss them all in the trash. I stopped writing those stories that day. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll put some links in the chat. I've got a couple new designs and I've got a calendar available now if anybody wants a calendar for next year with my designs on it yet. Thank you.
Right on, man. Everybody, please give it up for Park Gillian at this time. Right
Thanks,
on, my
Martin.
man.
Yeah, thanks. That last piece was kind of heart-wrenching.
I felt that. Tugging at my strings, man. And as you do post your links, Parkillian, I encourage everybody here, if you haven't already, share any and all links, whether it be social media, YouTube, if you got any merch, publications, events, get that out there. We as a community want to be able to support each other, and we won't be able to know how to do that unless, you know, you communicate a little bit. With that said, that's why we utilize this lovely group chat to our fullest advantage. And with that said, thank you again, Arkillian. Now, let's see here. I hope I am pronouncing this name correctly. On deck, we have Naja. But step up to the plate now. Please give it up for Frog Corpse. Unmute and take it away when you are ready.
From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. Then in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm, and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view, alone by Edgar Allan Poe. Next one. Ah, broken is the golden bowl, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll. A saintly soul glides down the Stygian river. Let the burial rite be read, the funeral raw song be sung, a dirge for the most lovely dead that ever died so young. And Guy de Vere, hast thou no tear? Weep now or nevermore. See on yon drear and rigid bier, low lies thy love Lenora. Yon here's whose cheeks of pallid hue with tears are streaming wet, sees only through the crocodile dew a vacant coronet. False friends, ye loved her for her wealth, and hated her for her pride, and when she fell in feeble health, ye blessed her that she died. How shall the ritual then be read, the requiem how be sung, for her most wrong of all the dead that had ever died so young? Peccavenous, but rave not thus, and let the solemn song go up to God so mournfully that she may feel no wrong. The sweet Lenora hath gone before, with young hope at her side, and thou art wild for the dear child that should have been thy bride, and for her the fair and debonair that now lowly lies, the life still there upon her hair, the death upon her eye. Avaunt, tonight, my heart is light, no dirge will I appraise, but the waft of the angel on her flight with a paean of old days. Let no bell toll, lest her sweet soul, amid its hallowed mirth, should catch the note as it doth float up from the damned earth. To friends above, from fiends below, the indignant ghost is riven from grief and moan to the golden throne beside the King of Heaven, Lenora. And finally, one of mine. A melancholic ode, lost tonight. I thought once to capture, a dream I misplaced, pale with primrose in a milk porcelain soft face, a rainbow made rope, bursting cinders of shapes, lost in the spectrum of the night mouth's blood taste, spilling nickel and ore, melting ivy and holly, plucked berry by bow stripped of the morning bird's chopping, an axiom reposed by the pale horse white grin, the known waters of strife, where the chest had caven in. The deeper that I go, the river takes me with it, the longer that I hold, the blackening breaches bluer lips, no matter where it rolls. In this stagnant sleep, I go inward, a thudding, rumbling felt, where its solitude never enters, struggling against its toe, coursing down an eerie stream to the great below, its murky waters unforgiving. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Everybody, please give it up for Frog Corpse at this time.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
If you haven't thought of this, if you haven't given serious thought into this idea yet, then please consider this Frog audiobooks or like, I don't know, just recordings of you, because you just have a delivery that's worth being digested at any point in time. That's like leisure shit. Like, thank you. Seriously. I think I could listen to you, recite Poe
All day.
like all day. Seriously. That was like borderline therapeutic shit. That was therapeutic. What the fuck am I talking about? Thank you, man, and keep doing what you're doing. Seriously, looking forward to any and all future projects you got going on. It is worth keeping an eye on what Frog's doing.
I think
And hell,
Edgar Allan Poe could stand to listen to Frog read Edgar Allan Poe.
Right.
that'd be dope. Happy Halloween, fuckers. Damn right. And in that spirit, we're gonna keep on and on and on. We got two more poets.
Good.
On deck is yours truly. But stepping up to the plate now, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, your name correctly. Just let me know. Naja, take it away when you are ready.
Thank you, Dre. It's my name is Nadia.
Oh, Nadia. Okay.
No worries, no worries. I am grateful for this space. I was inspired to write about the migraine I'm currently healing through. So if my voice sounds a little soft, it's because of that. But I have a couple pieces that I wrote and then one cover by Maya Angelou. So here it goes. I call this migraine. Tension builds within the head and veins. Body shifts, no longer feels the same. Clenched muscles, furrowed brow in strain. The mind begins its search again. It scans the landscapes near and far, ruling out each hidden scar, isolating where the discord lies, seeking peace beneath the skies. The body, wise and knowing still, measures each moment by what it can fulfill, harnessing strength to gently mend, healing where the fractures bend. So that is migraine, and the next one is interruptions. My brain is going to many different places, even when I'm sitting in designated spaces. My body will communicate many signals, talking to my brain with different niggles. Even when my body is screaming for rest, I understand this is sometimes always best to focus on recharging my energy, even when I'm feeling lethargy. When my body and brain are on different pages, impacted by the moon phases, the astrological cycles bring different energies, guiding internal and external synergies. The planets and moon can shift life's direction, some days forcing introspection, where the collective phase is more important than the internal goals or discordant. My neurodivergent brain will have to realign, flowing with the cosmic design. Redirecting internal traffic can sometimes feel chaotic and dramatic. Surrendering to the flow of life is not always easy and full of rife. Going with the flow asks for adaptations, learning to blend with life's contractions. Okay, and then my cover is I'm sorry, I lost my place. My cover is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and the sun, and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you all.
Right on. Everybody, please give it up for Nadia at this time.
Wonderful.
Gorgeous.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
wonderful work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I know this is your second time in our events here, and I gotta say, wonderful to be able to hear you perform again. And well, actually, this is your first time performing, am I right? Or second? I'm getting mixed up with someone else.
It's
Second
the
time
first
performing.
time I've heard her.
Well, yeah, I look forward to be hearing more from you. So, with that said, one more time, give it up for Nadia.
Woo! Yeah.
All right. So, with that said, we're going to be wrapping up this show with one more poet, and that poet is yours truly. So, give it up for your host of tonight's action, me. I hate introing myself, but someone's got to do it. Damn it. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with. I'm going to start with a cover. Seeing that Billy Tuggle's in the house, I got myself a copy of A Tree Falls in the Hood, and I'm on page 23 of that. I've got this autumn feeling vibe, so I'm just wanting to read this one. It's If You Asked the Tree by Billy Tuggle. The trees have marveled at the startling silence for days. The lack of audacity carried on a fresher breeze. Even on a stormy day, you can hear raindrops below you. With the absence of so many footsteps, rolling machines, and much entitlement might even tempt them to spread their roots a bit. Half a block away, a giant stretches towards another season. In the heavy wind, a tree bends perilous ballet without breaking limbs. That was If You Ask the Tree at Billy Tuggle, page 23, and a tree falls in the hood. Check that out if you haven't already. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you for your support.
And I wasn't too sure what to read. I haven't read this one in a while. It's getting close to that holiday time where you see a lot of decorations and people spending hella money on electricity. I don't know how they do it. So here's a piece I like to call God Bless Rich People. God bless rich people during the holiday season. Your ability to afford to not only buy all of those decorations, but to be able to afford the electric bill amazes me to no end. If it weren't for rich people, I wouldn't have this sweet, free double recliner sofa chilling in my living room. Facts. Or these free, tame, not so psychedelic light shows y'all provide outside that I can add my own soundtrack to. My ADHD thanks you. And seeing how it is unseasonably mine as of late, the Moss wants to subscribe to your home's only lights account. The sleeping medication manufacturers thank you as well, for their sales have increased by 141 and 2/3% since the beginning of October, with a projected 33 and 1/3% more by the end of the year. Wait, how is this? Wait, is this how all y'all are hoarding the wealth? Y'all get rich, pushing hella products into the streets and then buy it from each other over time? Smart motherfuckers. No wonder the rest of us are like, goodness gracious, great balls of fire, Batman. This ball game is rigged. White collared America is still wearing the same old pair of 1919 Chicago Black Sox, still thinking it's 1919 in a socio-political standpoint, treating anyone who isn't a straight, God-fearing white male feel less than a protozoan's waste. Yo, rotting corpse of Reaganomics. Please tell me when the wealth is going to trickle down before more blood of the homeless and innocent trickles down, flooding the cracks of sidewalks and pavements, spewing from the street gutters, seeping into the soil of the cursed burial grounds of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, rooting class struggle deeper into the earth to the point that it begins to spread a fiery greed-driven cancer through the forests and woodlands, rivers and oceans, the air we breathe, and the sky we cannot see. Poem. So there's that. Give it up for your host.
Woo! Everybody give it up for your host, Dre.
Woo! 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 That was fun. I'm gonna tweak that poem a bit more. That felt good. What really felt good was spending tonight with all y'all and everybody contributing whatever they had to bring into the mix. Just their presence alone was enough, but whoever participated, it's like I like to say, it takes a lot to make a stew. Everybody has their ingredients. Makes a nice spicy little gumbo here. Every show here under the Open Minds umbrella. And just want to just thank all y'all for tuning in and participating, and looking forward to seeing what's in store in the future. And with that said, there's still if you haven't followed us on Instagram, either on at Open Minds Open Mic or at the One Slam Jam, we will be advertising all the weekly shows we got going on. So with that said, tomorrow we got Harley Artist at I believe 2 p.m. Eastern time, different time shifts, hosted by Catalyst and Whisper Poet. Sharon Andrews is the special guest. We got Come As You Are. If you're struggling with writer's block, this is an open mic that's designed to break that. And also, it provides a mental health check-in. So it's a really wholesome show from what I've seen. Every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. C. Santos and Jackson Riley are your hosts. Check in on that. This Friday, we got Open Minds Open Mic. Let me just double check. It's been a week and a half already, and it's only Monday. Let me just double check who I have. We got Jackson Riley as the feature for this week, and it's going to be a dope show. If you haven't listened to Jackson Riley's poetry yet, please do. In our YouTube channels, you'll find him and you'll be amazed. Great up and comer. And this Saturday, we got the Slam Jam, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to have Incomplete in the house. It's going to be a really fun week of open minds, open mic action. So stay tuned to all that. But enough of me jabbering and talking y'all ears off. It's time to peace out. And with that said, I hope all y'all have a great night. Until next time, please keep writing, please keep loving. Peace and love to y'all, and have a great night.
Love you.
Woo!